coming to know Jesus is really, perhaps for some of us, older folks in the church, we learned a lot about the church and a lot about sacraments and a lot about catechism, but I don't know that that I, as a young person, was really invited into a relationship with Jesus. That's something I've learned more about, too, in these recent years, about how to do that invitation, about how to engage that part of us, first of all, to be disciples. One of the ways, very practical ways, that the church has adopted to provide that opportunity for people is something called Alpha, which I went through during the pandemic, did it online. A wonderful experience of simply sharing what that internal call of the Holy Spirit might be. And oftentimes it's not answers, but in fact, questions. When those questions arise in us, not to be afraid of those, but in fact, just like the people that were reaching out to John the Baptist, just like John the Baptist reaching out to Jesus, they're looking for something. And so we're doing this weekend in all the masses and is talking a bit about what the Alpha process is, and we've got a couple of Alpha, this time when you get up. Come and join me up here. And talk a bit about, to give witness. John the Baptist talks about giving witness. A little bit of giving witness about the Alpha process, program, course, whatever you want to call it, experience in your lives. So first of all, just tell us who you are. And yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Haley.
Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday. My name is Claire, and I've lived in Chicago for about 3.5 years, and I've been with St. Clement for about that same amount of time.
Great.
So a little intro to me.
Yeah.
I'm from the Chicago area, and I've been with St. Clement for about a year now.
Great, great. And we're here to talk a little bit about Alpha. That's kind of a common experience, at least three of us have, right?
Yes.
And St. Clement, of course. So how did you become engaged with Alpha?
Yes, absolutely. So about a year ago, I was going through a difficult season in my life. I was struggling with my mental health. It was winter. It's a very lonely time. So I would walk my dog and I would see the blaring red Alpha signs. And I couldn't think of a more literal sign from God to join it. So I decided to give it a look and I joined it. And it was honestly one of the best decisions I have made. And Claire was my leader at that time. And then the last session, I worked with Claire. So that is how I got involved with Alpha.
Great. Claire, how about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I related to what you said about the sort of catechism thing. You go through life, and I've been Catholic my entire life, and went to Catholic school, so robust Catholic education. But I think it's always the desire for deeper encounter. And I think there's a joke of, in your 20s, when you move somewhere new, you're like, how do we make friends? There's always the question of how do you continue to make friends? And I think there's a question of how do you make friends with Jesus? And I think, so when I joined Alpha, it was the pandemic, and I didn't really know anyone. And I also tell people, I jokingly tell people in their 20s, if you need to make friends, join a church, because they'll have things to do, and you'll meet a lot of people. But I really didn't know anyone, so it was truly just a tool. It started as a tool of, I need to meet people and I want to get involved in a community. So it started in just a simple desire for connection. And then I've led multiple times since then. So it continually grows, but that's the baseline, I'd say.
Cool. And in that experience, what do you notice happening in you and perhaps in others in this experience?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to take this one?
Sure. So with me, I had a deeper sense of peace in my life. I no longer put all my worries about life on myself. I shared them with Jesus, and taking that off my heart just made me have a more joyful life. So that is what I experienced. Also, the community we had with Alpha, it's a place where you can ask any question, any of the hard questions, which I asked them all with Claire, and there's no judgment. It's a very safe place to ask these questions, become vulnerable, and learn more about yourself and your relationship with Jesus.
I think I've had a more fruitful experience going through leading, sort of going on this journey with people. Because like Haley was someone who was radically honest, who would ask a lot of real questions. And as a leader, you don't really answer these questions, but you offer it to the group and go, what do you think? This is a place to speak. And what's something I've noticed as I've gone through it, I understand more about Jesus and who he is as a person. He's never going to pry anything out of your hand. So whatever you have on the altar of your heart, just willing to be willing. And you go on this journey from week to week, and it's building to this. There's this weekend, the Holy Spirit weekend, and you will not come back the same. You leave a different person. So you have this incredible encounter, because it's the place where you can really open your heart to the love of Christ. So I'm so excited to, I think, go on this journey again, because you have no idea who you're going to get, and that's the joy of being a leader too, is you have no idea. And also as a group member, you have no idea who you're, but you leave, and we just did a game night with our Alpha group on Thursday. So you have relationships that maintain far beyond this 10, 12 week. I still don't know how long it is. I just show up, but so there's a fruitfulness that comes from it that you have no idea what's going to happen. That's the joy, I think, of it as well. Of you have no idea how your life will change, how your life's going to open up as you go on that journey. So.
You know, all this talk about Jesus makes me nervous. Yeah. I think some people are saying that in themselves right now. And all this talk about change, and they're like, really? You know? But I think the message is always that nothing more happens to you than needs to. You know, God's there with you. And one of the images for me is I've, over the years, is, you know, we're kind of invited into this kind of spacewalk, you know, into a different place, but you're never untethered, you know, and so to be tethered to God, to be tethered to the church, to be tethered to a group of loving people, merciful people, non-judgmental people, is like maybe some of the answers to some of the, like, wait a minute, what are they talking about here, you know? Because trust me, I didn't go on the first Alpha offered. Well, actually I did, but then I took a while off before I went on the second one. And I think that, but I think this opportunity to connect in ever deeper ways with one another, and both of you, you know, are Catholic, but is it just Catholics that come to this?
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah. So I'm a newer Catholic. I got confirmed about 3 years ago. So I felt a calling to get confirmed, but I never really knew that much about Catholicism. So that was the start of my journey with also Alpha, because I felt that calling. So I started being Catholic with my relationship with God, and now I'm slowly on the journey learning more about Catholicism. And so no, you do not need to be Catholic. Yes, we had some atheists in our group. We had I'm trying to say, skeptical, and just Christians too. But it was great. It's a community where everyone's welcome, and you can ask any question you want.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I think one of the things about learning how to be a leader in Alpha is not to have the immediate answer, but in fact, really listen. I think sometimes church does a lot of telling. This is an opportunity to listen, to really listen. And when we really listen to each other, then the Spirit really does move in a very powerful way, very powerful way. Anything else you guys want to share with us about this process? It starts next week, right? Yeah. Yeah, tomorrow will be next week, Monday.
We know what we're
Sorry,
doing.
I don't know how to use a calendar.
Semantics. It's an utterly delightful experience. It is so much fun. I think, whatever age, wherever you are in your faith journey, just even starting with coming to a dinner and having encounter with just other people in your community, just starting from that point. If you're just looking for an activity, start there. That's a place to begin with. So it is. I just invite you. It is an incredible encounter, and just especially in the winter, as Haley said, it's very boring, not much going on, but truly, it's incredible.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to us.
That's another thing I think we need to do more is really hear each other's witness to faith. Alpha is a way to be introduced to one another, be introduced to the faith, to Jesus. Come to one and don't come back till the next one. Whatever is moving in your hearts. And if you're feeling a little resistance today, that could be also a little bit of a nudge, like, oh, what am I resisting here? Alpha's not the only way we come to know God, but it's been a really effective way for people across the world, millions and millions of people. We invite you to strongly consider it, pray about it today, and there are many opportunities either online or in person, thank you. It's, I think, following in the steps of John the Baptist. You have to take your shoes off and feel what's ground under you and see how we're being called to that deeper place with God, with one another, in God. I want to see, I want to know, I want to encounter Jesus and what Jesus can do for us.